What does that mean, present to anyone?
You are screen sharing. I don't know. This is supposed to be a test.
I'll do that right now. Now you're fat.
As people show up, it'll start showing them.
This is all you want or just the guys you bring back here. Those I would leave.
Broadcast the audio unless you turn my audience to private other video feeds.
I think it's if you have multiple cameras and multiple inputs.
Yeah. I already did that one.
All set?
Or like just to see what it looks like.
Read the numbers.
Okay, we're going to begin. I can't see that other people are coming, so I'm just going to start as if we were going. So in this first session, we will cover, hopefully, a brief introduction to Google Apps for Education as it applies to Liverpool. I'm going to be concentrating this one on the office personnel. So if you're a secretary or administrator, it's not really geared toward teachers. So hopefully you'll get something out of it. In the next 90 minutes or so, we're going to try and go through this. So what is Google Apps? Well, it's a collection of apps that you may or may not have heard about. It also includes Google Drive, which we're going to come a little bit later, which is an online collaboration of resources. And online means that you need to use a browser like Google Chrome. Google Chrome is really nice because it lets you sign in as yourself. If you look at the top of my screen right here, it's got my name because I have logged in to Google Chrome. You may have just a block there that says log in, or just a blank button up there. That means you're not logged in. You don't have to be logged in all the time, but it does help you because it makes your browsing experience uniform, and it gives you some training apps that are specific to Liverpool. So anything to try and help. Google Apps for Education has many, many apps. It's a core suite of productivity, but it also includes other things. Mainly what the teachers are using, hopefully this year, is Google Classroom. What it doesn't include for us is Gmail. We don't use Gmail. We use First Class. Students can use Gmail, and you can send to their Gmail account in addition to sending to teachers. But remember, we use First Class for email here in the district. So what we're going to cover today, Google Apps is a lot of different apps. We're not going to be able to cover all of them. I'm going to show you some in this first session. And the ones I'm going to include are, in essence, what is Google Apps for Education? What does it include for us? And what is Google Drive? This is an important one because Google Drive lets us do a lot of things that aren't really Google related. And we're going to cover that at the end here. It includes being able to have a backup so that when your computer dies, notice that I said when, you come in one morning and your computer is no longer working, you can go to another computer, log into Google, and all of your stuff in Google Drive is available for you. We're also going to talk about Doc, which is very similar to Word, not identical, but we're going to talk about that. Presentation. Presentations like PowerPoint. That's what we're looking at right now. Sheets, sometimes called spreadsheet. It's like Excel. Forms. Forms are really cool. They're very handy and very easy to use. Just require a little bit getting used to, and we're going to cover that. Google Calendar. Google Calendar is very powerful, and hopefully you'll be able to utilize it. And finally, sites. We're not going to probably have time for that, but that's one of the things that are included in the Google Apps for Education. What is Google Drive? Google Drive stores your files up in the cloud. Oh, no, not that kind of cloud. Not like we have out there today. It's really lets you save your files in Drive so that you can access them anywhere. And it looks more like this. So Google Apps up in the cloud, hosted on Google servers. It does require an internet connection, but it allows you to be in collaboration with others. It makes it a little bit more paperless, so that's one of the district goals. You access the Drive through the Google Apps in the cloud, and that gives you access to your documents, your presentations, your spreadsheets, your forms, the things I've just talked about. But it also lets you access other files any file, basically. And the difference there is you don't access them via the web browser, Chrome. You access those other files via the Google Drive app, which puts basically a folder on your hard drive and lets you use it just like you would use any other folder. The only difference is that it's a folder up on Google's apps, but it also synced locally to your computer so that you don't have to worry about it. Google Docs is collaboration, and it's going to be talked a lot about collaboration. Collaboration means that more than one user can access it at the same time. Although it doesn't have to be just for collaboration. You can use it as standalone. I create many documents that I use just for me to keep track of things, to do calculations on and spreadsheets and such, letters that I write. It's nice because I don't have to worry about where they are. They're always in my Google Drive, and you can create folders in Google Drive. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. Google Drive is the one thing that's really kind of unique because it's an app, but it's also a local app, meaning you don't have to use it via the browser like I've already mentioned. So we're going to try some demos here, and hopefully I can get my mouse to cooperate here. Stop that for a second, and you get to see my lovely face. And now we're going to switch over to this one. And good. You're seeing this. Okay, that's my whole desktop that you're seeing. I'm in Google Drive right here, and I'm in actually a folder. So there's my drive, and there's Google Apps training resources that I added to as a folder. So I just clicked on the new button and said folder and made me a folder. And the reason I did that is because if you look over here, I've got two other files. This one's a PDF and this one's a graphic. So if I just tap on it, that's the graphic that you saw me in the presentation. And this one is a little tips thing about using command key shortcuts. And if I want to put them into my Google Drive, it's real easy. I can click and select both of them, and I can drag them right here where it says drag files. I just let go, and it starts uploading them. Down here at the bottom is a little progress bar showing that they've been uploaded, and they are indeed uploaded. Now, by default, anyone who has a link to this can get it. So if I click on the sharing button and just hover, it'll show you that anyone in Liverpool schools can find and view the graphics that are in here, or the files that are in here. So by default, if you create a share, you want to be sure that you set the sharing permissions the way you want to. And the way you do that is you set it at the root of the folder. So for instance, I go back here and here's my folder that I want. So I click once on it, just once, and I go to this sharing button here, and it will ask me right here, anyone at Liverpool can, with the link, can view. And I can turn it, either can edit or I can turn it off. If I click off, that means only specific people that I put down here, and I have to put their email address in. Or if I've already shared with them, for instance, I can put in C. Marion, and you'll see that CM shows up because I've already done it once. So I can click there and he will show up right away. In addition to putting the people in here, you can choose what level of access you want to give them. So you can either edit or view. So I can change that if I want to, or I can leave it at edit so that he can edit it. And I click send. When I send it, it's going to send an email that they've been given access to this. I can add a note here about this resource. And they'll get that email with this to their email box, which again in Liverpool is with First Class. I click that and he has it. If I go back in here, the other things that you can do, and this is what we're going to talk about, is when I click New, I not only have the option of folder, I also have the option of creating those three basic things that we talked about at the beginning: Google Docs, Google Sheets, and Google Slides. Those are by default the first three. I do have the More button, and when I hover over the More button, I've got three other ones that you will probably have, including Google Forms, Google Drawings, and just recently Google My Maps. So if you're using maps.google, you can set your own maps and create your own interactive maps and stuff like that. We're not going to be covering that now. I also have two other apps that I've added to my account. They may or may not be on your account yet if you've signed into Google Chrome correctly. And this one is a graphic calculator, and this one is a video editor that lets you do a little bit of collaboration with video editing. We did a test last year at Liverpool Middle, so that's why that's there. If I want to create a Google Doc, it'll create it in the folder that I'm at. Yes. So it's saying create in a shared folder, because I've created this folder and I've shared it, and you saw me a little while ago share it with Chris. So this saying that this item will be created with those same permissions. You can say, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that, or yes, I want to do that. So when I click OK, it's going to open up a window and show me a blank document. At the top here, it says it's untitled. I just click there and I can type it what I want the title of the document. And I hit return, and it's titled. Notice right here, all changes saved in Drive. This means that every time I do something, it's automatically shared. I'm just going to change something real quick. Hopefully, it'll be a little bit easier. Is that a little click? A little clearer. There we go. You can see this a little bit clearer. It's not so in the way. Now this is very similar to Word in the fact that it's a word processor. You have your normal controls here for your fonts, sizes, different styles, bold, italic, underline, and you can change the text color. The other things you have here are your paragraph alignment. So you have left, center, right, and full justification. You also have line spacing here. You can enter a number list or a bullet list. And what's nice about it is when you have the little drop-down box next to it, so just clicking on it will just turn it. But if you click on the drop-down box, you can see the different styles that are available to you. So you have 6 built-in styles for the numbered list. Under bullets, you have 6 built-in bullet lists. And those can be modified. Again, that's a topic for advanced class, but these here are your choices. You don't have to choose them. This is to indent out, and this is to indent in, and it does it by default. So it's just like a regular document in the fact that you can type. Double click on it to highlight something, and you can make changes to it just like you would any Word document. The biggest change that you have to get used to is that it's inside the web browser. Notice that I'm in Chrome. I'm not in Word. The other thing is you don't need anything other than a web browser to use it. The biggest other thing is that it is a shared document. So I could have more than in one. I could have up to 255 people in here at one time sharing this document. It gets a little cumbersome after 20 or so because their icon will show up. Notice that my icon is me. the Liverpool logo, and they will show up, and their little cursor will change as they go through. If there was someone else that could share, let's see if I can see anyone in the Hangout here. No other people are joined in. I was hoping I could see other people, but I can't. No one else is here. People, but no one's showing up on my screen. See if I can turn Q&A on so that people will see a Q&A screen. Well, that didn't work. I see there's 16 people, but I can't see. Oh, wait, here we go. Maybe. Nope. Hopefully Chris can get in and share this document. And this is why it's our first time doing this, working through all the bugs. Notice that the presentation part took place very easily. The sharing between people is a little bit different. All right, well, we're going to continue going on while Chris is trying to find in there. Just like I have other word processing, I can create other features that I don't know how to do. And that's the advantage I was talking about earlier when I was talking about when I signed in to Google. If you look right here and you hover your mouse, there is a icon that's the Liverpool logo, and it says LCSD training. When I click on that, a training menu pops up. The first grouping, Yosemite for Teachers, is the videos that I've created. You can click that disclosure triangle and they go away. And you'll notice that underneath here, these are all things that are related to Docs, because I'm in Docs. I'm in a Google Doc right here. So if I click on Introduction to Docs, it shows me 3 videos talking about what is Google Docs and the home screen in addition to the Docs interface. And they have little times after them. These are all training videos that are included from a company called Synergize. If I click this button here, where it says, what is Google Docs? It's going to open up on my screen.
Google Docs is a web-based word processor that enables you to create and collaborate on documents with people in real time.
And it shows me down here a little viewer with my normal viewer controls, play, go back, go forward, and adjusting the volume, and lets me pause it. This video talking about that particular topic.
It features a familiar interface that is easy to navigate and sharing options that enable multiple people to edit the same document at the same time. In addition to the collaborative features, Docs also keeps track of all changes made to documents and makes it easy to revert back to previous versions. All of your changes are also automatically saved into Google Drive, so you never have to worry about losing your work. In the following lessons, you will learn how to use Google Docs and how to take advantage of all the features it has to offer.
And it's created or finished that lesson. I can either redo the lesson by pressing the play again, or I can continue on, or I can close it. Of course, the one feature I'm trying to show, the sharing, isn't working right now because the invitation didn't get put in correctly, I guess. I don't know. It's very specific with the user. You have to make sure that you're putting their email address in. So if you had something that you wanted to know how to do in Google, now this is only to Google. Oh, there's Chris. So there's Chris. You see he's got his name there. It shows up as a logo. And there's his cursor where he is. And he can add a document or add into my document so he can collaborate. See how we can both be entering at the same time. My cursor shows up, and now if you looked at his screen, he would show a different icon for me rather than this one. And you can hover and see more about those people. Again, I was talking about the training. So if there's something you want to do, So let's say you wanted to add a table in here. And if you look here, I don't see a table button. So you just click on where it says training, where it says search, and you type in table. It'll automatically go down and talks about table. So the results current. You can click on insert a table.
You may need to display data within your document as a table or grid. In this,
Again, same features. Now what's really nice about it is that he's going to go through a guided practice showing you exactly what he's doing. So you click on
lesson
play
will show you how to insert
and
a
listen.
table into your document and how to modify tables. To get started, click on the Insert menu.
Notice that the video is paused while I go up here and I click on the insert.
When you hover over the table option, you can select the table grid size of 1 by 1 cell, all the way up to 20 by 20 cells. Please make a selection now.
So it's going to wait for me to come over here and select a table size.
As you can see, the table has been inserted. You can now start adding text or objects to the cells of the table by simply clicking inside the cells. If you wish to adjust the number of cells in the table, you can right-click on it and insert or delete rows and columns. You can also modify the properties of the table by right-clicking on it and selecting Table Properties. This option allows you to adjust the border, background color, alignment, and dimensions of your table. If you wish to delete the table, you can right-click on it and select Delete Table.
Little guided practice to show you exactly what to do. Notice that it paused and waited for me to do the specific step. So it's a little bit easier than watching a video sometimes, especially for a new topic that you've not explored before. Okay, so we're gonna get out of our document, and you can do it several ways. Remember, all changes are saved as soon as you make them. So I could just click my little close box here, and I'll go back to my shared folder that has my training resources. Now, if I wanted to go back into it, there's my first shared doc. I could just double click on it and it will open it right back up to where I was. And it's going to go to the next thing. I'm talking about inserting a picture. So you saw me upload a picture a minute ago. I can click on insert here and say image, and it's going to give me several options. One is upload, take a snapshot, which is like a screenshot. If I have a URL to it, and that's a web address, I can also go to my albums, Google Drive, or I can do a search. What's nice about search is I can just type in something here and return, and it will show me all kinds of clouds. You'll notice that there's the cloud that I used earlier in the presentation. I can also click on my Google Drive, and it will show me all the different folders that I have, including the one that I just did. And there is the picture that you saw me upload earlier. So I can click select, and it will insert that picture right into my Google document, which is really handy. So I drag the graphic in through here, and there's the picture, so I can use it multiple times and have it available, and it shows up in my document. The other thing, when you click on new, you can have sheets and slides, very similar to Excel and PowerPoint. Little difference in Google Slides is that when you first start out, it's going to ask you for what kind of theme do you want. You can experiment with various themes. I find that the simple light is the one that I use the most. Notice down here you have a slide size. Widescreen is what most computers are now. You can also do standard 4:3, the old one, and you can also do the new widescreen 16:10 format. It's a little bit wider. I would recommend staying with 16:9. And you can say okay, and it will create a new slideshow like a PowerPoint presentation, where you just click to add the title. And your subtitle. You click the plus button here to add your next slide. Again, the drop-down button shows you the different options you have. The title slide, a title and body, which is by default the next one. Title in 2 columns, just the title, a caption at the bottom, and blank, so it's just a blank slide. Those are the default ones. You can also insert a text box extra. You can insert another image. So I could click that image. Again, I could do the search, or I could go to my drive. I could put in my image. And when I got the image in there, there's little grab bars, these little dots. If you click and hold on one of those, especially the corner, your picture will stay in proportion. Notice that I'm moving up, but as I move it, it stays in proportion so it doesn't get all distorted. If you have something on here like this text that's hidden behind here, I click once on it to highlight it, and then I can press the delete key and it will go away. So there's my second slide. Again, I can name it by putting the title there. The other option I have is right here where it's star, and that comes in handy when I click on star. It becomes a document that's kind of like flagged for me, so that when I click on it, and now I go back to my drive, notice that it has a star here. And what's really nice about that is if I click on starred items, it will show me all my items that I have marked for start. So those are the ones that I use frequently. So there's my first slideshow that we were just in, and it'll take it right back. Again, there's my star that I did. You can turn it off by just clicking there, and when I go back in just a second, that star goes away. See? Okay. The other thing you have for new was the sheets. I'm not going to go into that right now. It's very similar to Excel. Forms. Forms is really, really handy. And the reason I want to talk about forms is because you are going to want to collect data sometime. And what's really nice about Google Forms is it's going to let you create a form that's very, very interactive and let you gather the data in a nice, convenient format. It's going to come back. The results are going to come back to you in a Google spreadsheet. So it's going to be like an Excel document. And when you first do it, it gives you some form settings at the top, and then it says page 1 of 1. So you can have multiple pages, and they go through. They're like web pages that they would go through. You can have it be one continuous page, or you can have them go through different pages. The options at the top. The first one means that you want people here to, in other words, students or staff, to log in. So they can't see it unless they logged into Google. That's handy if you want to collect it only from students or staff here in Liverpool. If you want it to be anonymous so that people at home and stuff can do that, or if you're going to send it for parents, you don't want them to have to require to log in, because obviously parents don't have a thing, so a login. So you don't want to check that if you're going to do it anonymous. You can also click where it says automatically collect their username. This is handy, again, as if you're doing it inside the school. And then you can show a progress bar at the bottom of the form. So when you click that, a little progress bar will show up at the bottom showing how far they are along. The other option you have down here, which says allow only one person, one response per person. This one requires them to log in, whether it's at Liverpool or not Liverpool. So if you do check that, be aware that they're going to have to sign into Google to get it. So you don't want to necessarily click that if you're going to collect anonymous. And then shuffle question order. So if you had 5 questions, the first person that goes in gets them in that order, and the next person will get them in a different order. They're kind of self-explanatory, but I just want to go through that with you. There is a question mark next to them, and it's just giving you a little hint thing there. It says Google's respondents must have a Google account. And under shuffle question orders, if embedded, the question orders will on each page will shuffle randomly. So those are the 2 extra helps you have for that. So here, just like we named our Google Doc earlier, you want to name the form. And here we want to do our survey, our form, and give it a title. Notice that this title automatically changes the title up here. So it's one and the same. I could have named it here and it would have gone down here. There is a form description, and this is like a subtitle that you can put in. Just as kind of a little thing when they first go in. Now here's where you would put in a question. You can have multiple different question types, and that's right here. So there's multiple choice, a paragraph text, and just text. The difference between these two is text is a one-line response. So it would be like this entrance right here. This is a one-line text. Whereas a paragraph text gives them a whole paragraph so they can type in and press return, and it will give them a carriage return and a new line stuff. Checkboxes. Checkboxes mean that you can have a choice of different things. Multiple choice means it's like A, B, C, D. Choose from a list lets them choose one from a list. Scale, grid are very unique ones that you can experiment with. I'm not going to go into them here. The date puts in a date field, and the time puts in a date field, or time field, obviously. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually have a text field, and I'm going to say, what is your favorite color? And they're going to put in their answer. I can now add another item. And what is your favorite number? Again, I'm going to change it to text so they can just put in a number. And finally, what is your favorite animal? And again, I'm going to choose, no, this time I'm going to choose multiple choice. So here it's going to give me my options. So I can put in dog, cat, fish, other. Oh no, wait, I don't want to do other there. I want to put in, let's do horse. And then I'm going to click where it says add other. So what that does is it gives an option where it says other and lets them put in their own choice. Okay, and I click done. That's what it looks like. At the bottom, there's a confirmation page, and it says your response has been recorded. You can put anything in here. Thanks for helping with my list. And then here it says publish and show a public link to the form results. So if you want people to see your results after you've done it, you can do that there. And then this one here, allow respondents to edit their responses after submitting them. The little hover here, it says, if enabled, all respondents and anyone with the link will be able to see a summary of the charts of the form results. So because I'm just collecting, very inconsequential data, I can have that publish and show results. When I click send form, it's going to actually come up and give me a link to share. This is a little bit different than when we did the sharing before, where we had edit or view. Here, it's going to just send a link to them so I could put in their email address. So I'm going to do Chris again. I'm going to pick on Chris. And he will get this email saying subject favorites. And this message that says, please enter yours. I also have this up here, this link to share. So I could click on there and then do the Command C to copy it. And then I could send that to people and it would respond. They would get an email like this saying, here's a survey you can take online. So you could send that out to your parents, or you could post that in the embed code to your website. Again, higher level class that we'll talk about at another time. When I click send, that form goes out. Now, if I click right here where it says view live form, I'm going to see what the actual form looks like. Very, very simplistic. There's this button over here that says edit this form, so I can go back and edit this form, and I want to clean it up a little bit. The nice thing about it is it lets me, so I can click the change theme, and over here on my right, I have various different themes that I can pick on. So if I want one, oh, that's kind of beach seasons. Yeah, I like that. Or this one. It kind of goes in aligns with the animals. You can see that you can have all different kinds of themes, and all it does is kind of just make them a little bit, I don't know, classier, but less less plain vanilla into the theme. And you just click that back to edit your questions, and you can continue editing your questions. In here, I can click this edit button and it lets me edit that question. So if I wanted to change it or whatever, I could edit that. This one here lets me duplicate it so I can make that question so I don't have to keep typing it over and over again if I'm going to be doing just subtle changes. And then this one here will obviously delete this question. The other options I wanted to show you with you, one is the required question. So for instance, if you were collecting something and you wanted them to always have something like, let's say, their name or a date pick that they were going to choose because you're doing some survey to talk about dates, you would want to have that question be required. So you would click that button which says required question. When they then see that on the live form, there's going to be a little asterisk here that says required, and it shows you that this question is a required question. The other option you have under here is advanced settings, where you can have a validation. For instance, if this was a date field, I could make it so that it responded to a particular thing. Where the one I had where it says favorite number, I could click under here and I could say data validation that it's a number and it's got to be greater than 0. And I can say, please enter only a number. I click done. That saves it. Go back to my live form. When I click on a number here, I start typing in a letter. I click submit. It's going to tell me my favorite number was not. So it says, looks like you have a question that still needs attention. So it says, must be a number greater than 0, because that's what I put in for my validation there. Must be a number greater than 0. So you can be really specific with it and try and collect your responses so that they match what you're trying to collect. Again, very, very powerful, very, very easy to do, and built in. What's really nice is when I click on this button here where it says view responses, let me finish my thing because I didn't finish there. Here's my response. When I click on this button that says view responses, it's going to open up the spreadsheet showing me my 3 questions. Oh, look, someone else responded. Green dog. Notice that because I've made it a free form text, they can put in different styles of text. So this one's capitalized, this one's not. This is mine because I picked cat. Someone else did dog. So you can see them. You can do various things with it in Sheets, and we'll cover that later in another class where you can do charting and stuff. Okay. And there's the response when I clicked on it. And what's nice about it is I can see people's other responses, and I can submit another response. That's built in because we chose that when we were here at the bottom. Okay. Close up a couple of these windows. And we're back to our Google Drive. Here's our responses we talked about. Here's the form. The little icons tell you what they are. So this is a presentation, a slideshow. This is a Google Docs. This is a spreadsheet, and this is a form. They're very similar. Notice they're tied together because they're both the same color, green. Just a thing. What's really nice about it is because I put this in as a graphic, it says it's Google Cloud Original because that's the graphic I put in. It shows a little preview of it. Things that it can't show are PDFs. Notice that this is a PDF, Google Docs Tips Shortcuts, and it shows up as an icon saying that this is a PDF. I can open it inside my Google Docs or Google Drive, and it will show me this screen showing what it is. It lets me look at it and stuff like that. I can do other things, including right here where it says open with, so I can open it up in one of these apps. I don't recommend doing that because these are Google apps. These are third-party Google apps. Don't want to do that because it's going to open up inside Google here. I don't want to do that. I can click on the printer icon and it will take me to this screen showing me the different printers that I want. I don't want to do that today because I'm really not doing that. I can click on the download and it would download that thing to me. Obviously, I'm not going to do it because I just uploaded it. But I can also share this document. So just like we had other documents that are inside Google, this PDF isn't really in Google. It's in our Google Drive. But I could click that share button and I would get the same share window that we saw before where they can get the view to copy that. I do have another button here. When I click on that, I can add the star, which we talked about earlier, and I can rename it. So right now it's Google Docs Tips Shortcuts because it's web friendly. Now, having said that, I don't necessarily want this document to be a Google document. It's in my Drive, and the reason I'm showing that is because I want to show you the difference between Google Drive here. Notice that I have the Drive icon. So I'm in my Google Drive, my Drive, and I'm in this folder. But I also, I'm going to switch screens here for just a second. Maybe. There you go. So you see my whole window. Up here, I have my Google Drive. And I got that from in my computer in applications. There is a application. Hopefully it will refresh. Slow computer. Maybe. Keep on. There we go. The G and I come down. There's my Google Chrome, which is the browser that I'm in, but there's Google Drive. So it's an actual application. The first time I click on that, it's going to actually install on my favorites bar my Google Drive folder here. So when I do that, I now see my Google Drive. What's neat about that is this is a local, this is a local copy of my Google Drive. So if I go through and it's sorted alphabetically, there, Google Apps Training Resources, Google Apps Training Resources. So this is on my computer. Notice if I click here and I hold down the command key, it shows me that it's my Mac on my hard drive in the users folder, my name, a folder called Google Drive, and the folder inside there called Google Apps Training Resources. This shows me that it's local to my computer. It's stored here, so I can work on it. The nice thing about that is, unlike Google Docs, so Words, the doc, the spreadsheet, and the slideshows and stuff like that, if you don't have an internet, so BOCES loses their internet connection, and we need to do something, If it's local here on my drive, I can do it. And the next time that the network comes back up from BOSI's, we can sync it. So that's what that little icon right there is telling me, that it's synced last. I can click this button here and it'll open that same drive. What's really nice about that is, you saw before where I can drag things into this folder here. So I'm just gonna drag this logo in here. If I click that, it drags it in there. But I can also do it via this folder. So you'll see there is that one. And in just a second, it's going to sync this application logo. What's really nice about it is I can take any file. So this is a FileMaker file. And I'm doing this because someone specifically asked it earlier. So this FileMaker file, if I drag it in and put it in this folder, notice that it moved it. It's no longer on my desktop. It's now in here. So it's different whether I use it via the browser or via the Finder. I don't know if you noticed it or not, but as soon as I had moved that window over here in my browser, it shows this document, this mileage calc, which is the FileMaker document that I created a while ago. And I pulled it out so I could show someone today. This is the Finder, so it's local to my computer. This is showing me what's on the Google Cloud. And there it is. Again, it's showing me a generic icon because I can't open this in Google. It's not going to let me. It's going to say, I don't know what to do with it. When I double click on it, it's going to say, there's no preview available. I can download this if I wanted to, or I can just click out of it. But what's really nice about it is I now have this file local to my computer, but automatically backed up. So if there's something that I do a lot of, and it's not in a Google Drive app, so it's in Word or Excel or FileMaker or anything else that you do that you want to make sure you have a copy of it and you don't have to worry about your computer dying, just put it in your Google Drive folder. So if it's in your Google Drive folder right there, anything you put in here, it's local to your computer, and you can have all different kinds of folders. Like you see, I have tons and tons of folders. It's also available to you on any other computer. So if you go to another computer, you log into Google, you'll see it. So you don't have one installed Drive on someone else's computer, but you can log into Google, click on that here, and say download, and then download that file locally. You do have to have the application like FileMaker, for instance. Okay? Hope that helps everyone understand. I'm going to stop that for just a second, and we're going to go back to this screen. So I covered a lot today. The things I covered talked about Google Apps, what it is, what you can do with it. I did a brief overview of Google Doc. We created a form, collected some responses. I showed you a little bit of the difference between Google Drive on the computer and Google Drive in the cloud. It's very, very handy, and hopefully answered a little bit of your questions. Now, the biggest question that people are going to ask me is, I want to use Google, but I don't remember my password. Okay, coming this week, sometime this week, we're going to be turning it on so that your computer password is going to be your Google password. We've been working hard and long on trying to get this integrated so that when you log into your computer, you can automatically use that same password to get into Google. And hopefully, as we move forward, more and more of those things will be integrated. It's called Active Directory integration. And what that does is it lets it so that when you change your password for your computer, it will give you that same password to get into not just your computer, but also school tools, web CRD, Ensemble, and now Google. So hopefully this week sometime when I'll be announcing it, we want to try and get it done before teachers come back from vacation. And that's one of our big goals that we're working on. Next video tomorrow is going to be, I believe, on FileMaker. I'm going to do the same type of thing in FileMaker with this Google Hangouts, and hopefully we'll have a little bit more interaction because it won't be a presentation like this. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. My email address is right there, or if you're in first class, it's just Surma, S-U-R-M-A. Thanks, and have a great day.